experience in Egypt. She has become famous for mixing Egyptian classic songs with folkloric art from the Levant. Nuran has been able to draw good crowds, especially from the youth.
Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on Nile Cruise on this very special episode from St. Mary's Church, Virgin Mary's Church in Maadi. And national unity among Muslims and Christians are not just slogans, but they are rather basic reality. Now, Muslims and Christians, of course, have always partnered in everything here in Egypt, and that's why in Egypt there's a very special unity among the populations and the citizens in this regard. They have faced a lot together, and they also have shared a lot of common features in their daily lives and even in their celebrations. Egyptian cinema production, however, has been also keen to depict the Egyptian life in all its aspects, and has shown a lot of Christian and Muslim characters in their daily interactions and how they live together in harmony on all different social levels and during all different, not only time phases of friends here in Egypt, but also phases, social classes as well. We are very much delighted to talk about this very special issue, coinciding, of course, with the celebrations of Christmas here in Egypt. Mr. Osama Fatim, a cinema critic, thank you very much for joining us. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of us, Muslims and Christians.
Thank you, Mr. Fatim. Pleasure to have you. So in general, what are the features that were portrayed in our cinema regarding Muslim-Christian relations in your view, sir?
Relations, there is many ways to look at that question, really.
Yeah.
It's basically showing representation of the Christian way of life, if you want. It has been dealt with in the past and the future, and showed the unity, as the lady said, in the famous movie Salahuddin. There was a main character there. Salah Zulfiqar was playing Aisa Al-Awam, who was considered in the movie, not in history, as some sort of consultant for the great Sultan Salahuddin. This basically shows, especially it was a crusade at that point, it shows that, hey, it was an invasion, not a Christian war against Muslims. So it started in that sense to put the idea, it didn't start really, I mean, Egyptians, movies and Egyptian Christian, Muslim-Christian relationships have been all over the history, have been to a great extent a tolerable one. So that movie where Salah Zulfiqar played a wonderful role was a joy to watch that system or that movie for that. But moving to historical movies such as Rahiba or Shafia al-Ibtiya, it's a different matter. It's basically, it was showing real characters, a nun who was a dancer before, who becomes a beautiful ending to a beautiful movie. As well as when we see the new movies nowadays, like Film Hindi, it shows that, hey, Muslims and Christians are really basically the same, facing the same problems. A couple of friends who are facing the same financial restraint and end up both of them losing the girls that they love, and in the end kept each other friendship.
If I remember, in one of them sacrificed his apartment for the other to
exactly.
get married, and it showed the sense of unity or
friendship.
The spirit, yeah, friendship.
Yeah, the friendship
and
that yes, yeah. Sacrifice for each other. They both sacrificed for each other. This one gave the money, and this one left the girl. Yeah. So you know, and both of them ended up with no apartment and no girls. Hey, we're all in the same problem together, but still laughing, loving each other, and that's how it
Absolutely.
works.
Yes, Mr. Osama, you spoke about Salahuddin. I want to also talk about all productions that also tackled the relationship and the partnership between Muslims and Christians communities in Egypt. If we want to talk about one particular old cinema production, Shafi'a, the Coptic and the Nun, how do you see these kind of movies in this era of time in the Egyptian cinema history?
These are landmark movies, because they tackled very specific issues. Shafia al-Ibtiya, or Kopcha, was a great belly dancer who literally controlled life among the politicians and so on. And she was very popular. She was not in real life very beautiful, but it was played by Hind Rostom, who is a beautiful, one of our beautiful stars. And basically, so that specific movie is a landmark because it shows a historical character that is a Christian who is rarely shown in our movies. As for Rahiba, it's the same concept, but all made up. A story, a movie that's not real in life. And again, it shows the way of life of a Christian way of life, which unfortunately the ignorance among Muslims about their fellow in the
Citizens.
Exactly, in our land is a lot. It's not publicized enough, but still that was a good movie to watch.
Another movie I think that was to watch, and all movies really, at least in my personal view, about the 6th of October war victory, that great victory, is The Bullet Is Still in My Pocket, الرصاصة لا تزال في جيبي. And of course, we all know that Egyptians, be it Muslims or Christians, in the army and even among the people, had a big role in that Sadat-led victory. So talk to us about movies that portray our victories, our historic moments, and the relationship between Muslims and Christians there as one.
Yeah, exactly. You just hit the right point. The victory was for all of us, was ours. There was no discrimination or difference between a Muslim soldier and a Christian soldier.
They were saying Allahu Akbar, the Christian soldiers.
Exactly. Yeah, among that, hey, they just followed. Yeah. They figured, hey, that's what will work for them. That's the enthusiasm that has been there, and that's what happened. And hey, guess what? They crossed, and that was a great crossing. Minimum to say, it was unthinkable. It was a victory out of the darkness that nobody expected, even them. But at that point, hey, the Allahu Akbar cries worked. It's a cry. At that point, it was the cry of war and the cry of victory and the cry, hey, we don't mind dying for our country and for our fellow people, for our fellow citizens. We will not tolerate being defeated. And it worked. So we are all the same. And that's, to a great extent, that's what the messages are doing. These are the messages that we are passing along through drama. And to move on that one, Hassan wa Morus. It's a beautiful movie led by Adil Imam and Omar Sharif. Omar Sharif is a Christian and Adil Imam is a Muslim, but they both played the different religion. And in the end, of course, due to briefly, the story is due to political reasons, they have had to hide, and this one had to play as if he's Christian, this one has to play as if he's Muslim.
Of course, we remember that movie,
yeah.
But unfortunately, we have to end it,
Yeah,
Yasmin and Mr. Fatim. But I wanna, if the directors will allow, just to mention one more movie.
Sure.
I remember, I don't recall its name, but it was Adil Imam as well, and it was Mustafa Mitwalli and
yes, Al-Irhabi,
the
terrorist. Yeah.
And because you mentioned that we Egyptians, be it Muslims or Christians, face the same problem.
Exactly.
So we all face the problem of terror.
Exactly.
But one real moment that really
affected me personally, I think affected everybody, when they were watching the football match
Exactly.
together. When Egypt was playing and the Muslim and Christian were sitting next together, they didn't care.
He was a terrorist.
Yeah, and he was a
Yeah,
terrorist.
yeah, he was a
But,
And he was
everybody-
hosted
but we wanted
by a
Egypt to
Christian
win.
family, yes.
Everybody wants Egypt to win.
Exactly,
That was
and the
point.
funny part is that he had to go to watch the game in his neighbor's
Yeah.
house, the Muslim, because his wife was extremist to the point that no, I will not. Yeah, we should not
Yes.
watch TV in the first place. So he went there, and that was funny, and everybody laughed. And I remember attending that movie in the movie theater, and we just laughed out of our hearts, really.
Well, because Egyptians
Yeah.
have a sense of humor that is always shared together.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Osama Fatim, Cinema Critique, we'd like to wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for joining us on Nile Cruise. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Please stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Egypt is the land of all religions. It was on Mount Sinai in Egypt that Allah talked to Moses and he received his mission. Egypt sheltered the Holy Family and offered martyrs and saints throughout centuries.